you do have some Republicans, I think of people like Rubio or J.D. Vance, who were hostile to Trump, but have obviously warmed to Trump ever since. And yet you have other Republicans who have never really liked Trump, never been on board with the MAGA agenda, but know enough to sound some of those notes when they run for re-election. They still seek Trump's endorsement. How do you figure those people out? Is it simply a matter of doing like deep digging into these characters to figure out where their loyalties like currently lie?
Well, that's a good question. And look, in the case of Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance, I'd like to think that they made amends, right? I mean, obviously, we can't overlook the fact that J.D. Vance once said that Trump was essentially like Hitler. But he has actually addressed this, and it's been well documented that he went to the president when he was running for Senate and he apologized, asked for his forgiveness, and asked for his endorsement. A lot of the people that are problematic, that are slipping through the cracks in the horrendous, and I would even say non-existent vetting process that exists in the White House, are people who are hoping that their statements never go detected, or people who are lying about their loyalties, saying that they've always been with Trump. But, you know, if you do a keyword search on January 6th and their name on X, you see a million tweets from them saying that, oh, you know, yeah, he's a dictator. He's got to go. He's just destroyed democracy, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, if people are willing to make amends and they're willing to be honest about their new realizations and they're willing to come clean, I think it's a different conversation. But when you have people, for example, like Ivan Canopathy, who, you know, was made the director for Asia at NSC under Michael Waltz, who just 2 months prior to his appointment was working with, you know, Obama's CIA officials, Mike Morrell and Leon Panetta, where he had an executive level position at Beacon Global Strategies, where he could have either removed these people as advisors or as counsel. And he chose to instead retain their counsel while knowing that those two individuals were two of the 51 spies who lied, who helped create the letter that we now know was coordinated by our intel agencies to try to help Joe Biden steal the election in 2020 by falsely labeling Hunter Biden's laptop as Russian disinformation, even though his own laptop was inserted as evidence in his own trial in Delaware. So again, those are the types of massive vetting failures I'm talking about. I mean, there are people who work in the admin. Even Michael Waltz himself is on video saying that Donald Trump has been disrespectful to service members and, you know, promoted the lie that Donald Trump called veterans suckers and losers. He's on video saying this in 2016 for an anti-Trump veterans PAC. And so, but I've never heard him apologize for that. I've never heard him come clean about that. I don't even think the president of the United States had ever seen that video. But you have a lot of people that are just unwilling to make amends and be honest. And it doesn't really make sense to me because, you know, shockingly, Donald Trump is a pretty gracious and generous person. They like to make him out to be some like ruthless killer. But I mean, look, I wasn't sitting front row at the inauguration. It was Mark Zuckerberg who tried to steal the election. And it was Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon, and Washington Post, who helped manufacture the Russia collusion hoax that made President Trump's life a living hell the last 9 years, right? So, I mean, obviously, Donald Trump is more gracious than people give him credit for. He could have just fired Michael Waltz, but he exiled him to Siberia, right? Still a position. He exiled him to the United Nations where he's ambassador. But that's pretty gracious, in my opinion. I would have just fired these people.